I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, March the 7th, where we've got excellent demand for these fall-born calves that can be turned into grazers, either on graze out wheat, on grass this summer, and if you have the ability to fall calf, I think everyone should fall calf as many of their cows as they can. I realize some places that graze at higher altitudes, different times of the year, things like that depend on leased ground for the grazing, may not be able to do that. But for places that can do it, there's no doubt that it's a good idea. Unless you don't like better demand for your calves or your yearlings at every stage of development, don't do it. But you know, these calves are coming in now. I mean, a lot of them are pretty soft, but they're bringing a big price because there's just not many lighter weight cattle out there. If you decided to keep those cattle, those calves yourself and turn them out this summer, there's always fantastic demand for hard yearlings coming off late in the summer or early in the fall. And it's just a no-brainer. If you can fall calf, you should do it. And look around during these early spring months if you don't believe it. But look at the board. June live cattle down 57 cents on Tuesday to end the day at 114.77. April, your spot live cattle down 40 cents at 122.82. Although it looks like we could get a higher fat cattle market this week. On the feeder cattle, April down 75 cents at 146.12. March down 85 at 144.30, and all your nearbys were down not fairly significantly, moderately anyway. But your fall feeder contracts continue higher, and I think that's kind of a surprise when you look at the board. But fat cattle trade, we didn't see any trade to happen on Monday. That was a relief, except for a few deals from those Iowa riverboat gamblers up there. And they do have gambling, and they don't have to go out on the water anymore, but a lot of people in that part of the country still call it going to the boat. But over 200 head sold in the Iowa, southern Minnesota region there from 128 to 129. That might sound surprisingly higher to you guys, but actually your dress trade was at least that high last week, but that would still be higher than the 127 that was established in Northern Plains. But I think for this week anyway, and maybe for a few weeks here, we should just wait and let the North establish the market, and then the outliers in the Southern Plains can fall right in line there and be a lot better off than trying to do it themselves. Look at your feeder markets. On Tuesday late, your real-time index was sitting at 144 even, based on an 800-pound steer. That was down just 21 cents from Monday's late day. Your CME cash feeder cattle index, latest that come out on Monday, sitting all the way up at 145 1/4. You can't get that for an average 800-pound steer through the middle 12 states there. You can get it in places. You can get more than that in places on the right kind of cattle, but for an average group of cattle, it'll no longer bring that much. But you look at some markets on Tuesday. OKC West calf sale in El Reno, 2,500 head there. Like I said earlier in the report, steer calves firm to $5 higher, heifer calves steady to $4 higher, and that's not those hard calf weight yearling cattle. Those are just straight up calves selling really well. West Plains, Missouri at the Ozarks Regional Stockyards, 3,400 head. Now you'll get some harder, more crossed up, more continental cross type of cattle that really got go to them over in that part of the country. Your steer calves under 600 pounds, $4 to $6 higher. Big steer calves over 600 pounds, steady to $4 higher, or 2 to 4 higher, excuse me, and heifer calves steady to $5 higher, and not a real good test on true yearling cattle. But look at some individual quotes. On Tuesday at the OKC West and El Reno at the calf sale, they had 53 head of 506-pound steer calves, bring a $1.95, very respectable. Let's look at something we don't usually look at. Holstein steers, big string of them in Loop City, Nebraska on Tuesday. 130 head of them, weighed 908. at 84 bucks, and you don't get a good test of a big string of yearling Holsteins. They don't feed very efficiently, but there's been a lot of money made on them over the years. Alma, Nebraska, 2:30 on Tuesday afternoon at 132 head of 813-pound steers, and I said in some places and in some conditions they can bring it all. 153.75. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.